It's a whole hunk of bologna. It's a whole lump of the Swedish meatball. Now, you know what that sounds a lot like to me? Sounds like meatballs. Yellowha, what is up, my homesicles? I am Atticus Cornet, conspiracy theorist and rant extraordinaire, and welcome to Atticus Rants About Stuff, the #1 podcast hosted by someone who knows the truth about those Swedes. Without further ado, let's get down to today's business. IKEA is the Swedish Mafia. For legal reasons, I should probably go ahead and cover my bases and preface this by saying that everything I'm about to say is a joke. Obviously, this is a kind of insane take and none of this is real. So for those of you who don't know, IKEA is this giant furniture store that's based in Sweden but has spread all throughout America, it's spread around Europe, it's pretty much everywhere, and it's this iconic giant store that's just essentially a very large warehouse and also a very large showroom. And they also, in addition to having all of this furniture everywhere, they also are known for selling some other products, and they also have a cafeteria in all of their stores. So IKEA is a store that's kind of always confused me for one big reason. Why would one store supply both large amounts of furniture and also have a cafeteria with supposedly very good Swedish meatballs? One day, it suddenly dawned on me. There was such a simple explanation that solved the mystery. IKEA is the Swedish Mafia. Now, this may not seem obvious at first, but once you make this realization, all of the pieces quickly begin to fall into place. So what does the Mafia do to people who make them mad? They make them disappear. They mysteriously just aren't around anymore. Now, what would be the perfect way to make someone disappear? Well, ideally, you may want to deform their bodies to the point that they are no longer recognizable, and then quickly find a way to dispose of the evidence to minimize the risk of getting caught. Now, you know what that sounds a lot like to me? Sounds like meatballs. Theoretically, hear me out, if you stuck someone into a meat grinder and quickly served them up as meatballs, you would be able to get rid of the evidence very quickly. Just let the customers handle it. The digestive system will get rid of all that evidence. Not only have you found a way to make people disappear very well, but you have also found a way to not only make it less costly, but in fact, very profitable. So we've explained the meatballs, but where does the furniture come in? Well, admittedly, much of the furniture that IKEA sells is just a distraction from the really important furniture: couches. Let me explain. So let's say you can't find your phone or your earbuds, or maybe you're missing some pocket change, some coins. You search all around the house and you can't seem to find it anywhere, until you finally root through the couch cushions and discover it buried deep in some random crevice in the couch. Now consider the sheer number of couches that IKEA has. Do you see it now? IKEA has almost unlimited access to a device that is known for being an excellent place to hide and lose stuff. With the number of couches that IKEA has, they are able to securely store all sorts of secret documents and other Mafia stuff like secret USB drives and other stuff right in plain sight. They're able to keep it right in front of us, and we don't even realize it. Admittedly though, having couches doesn't solve a Mafia's full storage problem. A Mafia would oftentimes have to hide things that are much larger than what is able to be stored in just a couch stuffed under a crevice. But do you know what else IKEA has? IKEA has giant warehouses. So put yourself in the shoes of a Mafia moving large amounts of contraband. What would be the ideal place to store your secret goods? Well, it would have a few traits. It would be a large space with plenty of room, and Hopefully somewhere not immediately obvious to authorities, preferably a location with other legitimate activities conducted there so as to make the whole operation seem legitimate, and a place with a lot of decoy legitimate items so that the illegitimate items can hide amongst them in plain sight. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds a whole lot like a large IKEA warehouse to me. They have the perfect opportunity to move large amounts of stuff without any suspicion. No one wants to actually search all around an IKEA warehouse. Customers just go to the part they need, get what they need, and immediately leave. They don't browse around, so no one's going to be snooping back there to find anything, and you already have large trucks and all sorts of distribution that happens for the furniture. So if you just snuck some other stuff in there, no one would notice because you already have big truckloads of unmarked boxes moving around all the time. The IKEA warehouse is a perfect place to just quietly move contraband in and out without anyone batting an eye. On top of all this, they are already a large international organization, so they are bound to have a couple things. For one thing, they have a large supply chain. They know how to get things moving. They have locations in Europe and America, and I don't even know where else, but they have a fair amount of locations that are international. So they already have experience with setting up a supply chain and a distribution network and making connections with people on local scales and national scales where they know how to get product moving across borders, and anywhere they need it to go, they already know how to distribute it there. They have a large distribution network. And another thing they're bound to have is all sorts of connections with important people. You can't be a large international organization without, making agreements with cities, making agreements with counties, and I don't even know how high up it goes, but they definitely have connections with important people. In fact, the director of IKEA expansion has actually been accused of meeting with a supposed Spanish mafioso. This isn't something that I just wildly made up. It's on Wikipedia, and that's the most trustworthy source in the world. I actually tried to look more into it, but the article was in Spanish and Google Translate was not super helpful, so I don't know if this is just a claim or if it's been verified, but they've been accused of meeting with a supposed Spanish mafioso. As I said at the beginning, once you start thinking about it, all of the puzzle pieces really do seem to just fall right into place. So let's do a quick recap one last time. The meatballs are a great way for them to get rid of evidence in a way that is not only less costly, but very cost-effective and profitable. The couches everywhere in showrooms are a great place for a drop location where they can hide small objects that no one will find unless they're really looking for it. IKEA's massive warehouses give them a great place to hide larger things and large shipments without anyone noticing, because there's already large spaces with a lot of generic boxes, and they already have a lot of not clearly labeled materials moving in and out of the warehouses all the time. And on top of all this, as a large international organization, they already have connections both in distribution networks and are likely well connected politically. So that's my theory that's been floating around in my head for quite a while now, and even though it is a joke, it makes a surprising amount of sense if you don't think about it too hard. And just to make sure my bases are covered, I'm going to reiterate one last time, for legal reasons, this is a joke. I don't think IKEA's actually the Mafia. Unless... No, I'm kidding, I'm not making any accusations. Thank you guys so much for listening to my rant, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think there's absolutely even a smidgen of truth to this little conspiracy theory I thought up, or do you think it's a whole hunk of the Swedish, it's a whole hunk of baloney, it's a whole lump of the Swedish meatball? Again, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you next month, hopefully. Have a wonderful day.